So we have Ainhoa from Spain joining us, and she's going to help us do a small presentation as an overview. So let me just, without much further ado, let me share the PPT that has the overview. Yes. Over to you, Ainhoa. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about the Cofounders. So startup for startups.
Yeah.
So the problems are startups struggle to find the right co-founders on equity, because not many platforms exist that can do efficient core team building, and as well because of the right team is necessary to gain investors' trust. So the solution is to create a platform where startups and potentials co-founders can meet and collaborate for a common vision. So that means having an online community, monthly virtual meetup events, and as well AI, ML enabled making algorithm. So the customer acquisition strategy is collaboration with the ecosystem partners, digital marketing, virtual events, and sponsoring events as well. The revenue model is to resume highlighter for candidates, job posting for companies and startups, branding for companies and startups like Mercury, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, and database search like Mars, Venus, Jupiter.
Yeah. Combo offer, please.
So the combo offer is a relationship manager to assist in co-founders matching, CXO hiring, a free account, free landing page branding on our platform, and free job post at LTD, lifetime deal, of 9997 to be paid only post your perfect match.
Yeah.
So the competitors are Cofounders Lab, LinkedIn Jobs, and nowcurrent.com. And the team founder is Gaurav Argal, and the co-founder is Vishal. Here you can see in the last 6 months all the progress. In February, April, the company's trademark was successfully registered under Domestic Services LP. SMM Buzz by releasing problem statement in the words of existing industry stalwarts. In May, Deep Recognition Certificate also blocked the CXO per market scenario. So in June, they engaged influencers, mentors, accelerators, and incubators, and started with AIC Balsar tie-up. And in July, we created the online bus with Kamkiba, and the episode validating the idea through entrepreneurs in different platforms like Startup School. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ainhoa, for this. Let me stop the share now, and we will have a question and answer for this later if we have time at the end. Meanwhile, what we'll do is we'll move to the panel discussion, where things will be taken care of by Gaurav Agarwal. So over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you.
Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Vishal, as well. Thank you for this wonderful introduction and good presentation about Cofounders Planet. Thanks again. So I'll start by
Gaurav, actually, your two devices are interfering with each other.
Okay,
so disconnect the audio of the mobile, maybe. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now it seems perfect.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
All good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll start by introducing our first esteemed panelist, Mr. Atul Kumar. He is a senior director, products, healthcare, life science, edtech, and fintech, a very deep interest in all these areas. He's himself the founder of Ren Ventures. Straight, it's early morning there. Atulji, you're there. And he's an IMA alumni, an advisor to Co-Founders Planet himself, a well-wisher, and happy Teachers Day to you as well. And Atulji, thank you for being a part of this panel discussion. Moving on, Mr. Gaurav Kapoor, a social entrepreneur and a change maker in bold letters, because he is himself, as I say, the change maker. During the COVID only, he has been making so many changes in the entire society. He is a social entrepreneur, my friends. He is the head of social entrepreneurship and IIM Calcutta Innovation Park. A person, any social related activity, startups, he is the person to go globally. Yes, globally, he is the man to go for any social entrepreneurship requirements. The next, the big daddy in the HR industry, as I always say, Mr. R.P. Yadav, Chairman and Managing Director, Genius Consultants Limited. He is from the City of Joy, Kolkata himself. Welcome, welcome, sir. Next in line, Varad Krishna. Just a small story about Varad Krishna before I enter deep into this, about his introduction itself. He is the person playing a pivotal role behind this event, because he told me, Gaurav, enough of ideation, let's get going. And you should actually have some events or literal matchmaking sort of an event so that we can see the results of the idea. So welcome Varad Krishna, the Managing Director, INDIC-SCRIPT Asia and Middle East, North Africa, and a co-founder of 100 Open Startups. He, during our discussion in the morning, he came up with another offer for all the startups out here, which I am going to reveal at the end of this meeting. Okay, so stay tuned. I'll be revealing one offer from 100 Open Startups straight from Varad Krishna. So let us get going, guys. Let us start with our panel discussion. Welcome all of you. Welcome all the startups, the audience, because you guys only make these virtual events successful. Enough of so many virtual events going on now. So let us see how our event goes, how much value addition we can actually do. And Vishalji, I will request if you can make the speakers, you can unmute them, please, if that is a possibility. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll start with our discussion. My first question to the panelist will be, post-COVID scenario, during this entire time, people have started looking for teammates. There has been so much attrition, plus minus in the team, right? So how do we see the hiring market? Now the canvas has become global. Now we are not only looking at one part. See, initially, if I had been in Calcutta, I used to prefer having people only from Calcutta. But now, thanks to COVID, that is not the scenario. We are looking at a global canvas, and people who are coming to our startups like SMB consultants also, they come up with a requirement, hey, why don't you give me a remote worker? So the reliance on the gig economy is also there. So I would like to have your inputs on the same. We can start with Gaurav Kapoorji on the same particular topic of gig economy and the global hirings. How does he see the global hirings market? So Vishalji, can you please unmute?
Yeah, he can unmute. Yes.
Thank you, Gaurav, and a very good evening to all of you. I'm sure we've got more than 30 people here on this webinar, and this is going to be a very interesting discussion. And a very good evening to all the speakers, Varad, Mr. R.P. Yadav, And I think this is going to be the time when post-COVID now, we're seeing out of jobs. I think one thing you forgot to mention, Gaurav, here, that a lot of people have actually lost their jobs. And attritions are happening in a big way where I feel that now this is also a good time to hire people, because a lot of talent is moving around, is floating around, which especially for those people who would like to hire quality people to come about. Why do we only talk about hiring? Why not collaboration? In fact, this is one platform which is and will do very well if people can come together and co-founders can meet. This is a time when a lot of innovation will come about. We all are looking at innovation. So I think it's a wonderful time. And I also think that this is rather create a lot of value in the market. I mean, every opportunity, I mean, every, dead end.
Seems there is slight internet issue from Gaurav's side.
We can move on to
side.
the next speaker. We can take the inputs from Varad Krishna.
Yeah, I would like to continue, from I know where Gaurav was going at. So let me tell you, right? There's abundance of talent now, good quality talent, and the challenge is also to find the right jobs for them. And so there's going to be not only unemployment, underemployment as well. That's because they may be qualified for something, but because of the large scale, I heard something like 300,000 people in the IT industry across India have lost jobs. This is not a small number. And we also hear, this is a negative part of it, right? We also hear from international side, the companies that are, hiring Indians to work, that also there's a major cut. People have been asked to leave, So there are many such upheavals, going on around the world. So one problem the country has to grapple with will be a large number of people without jobs that may be forced to come back for whatever reasons. You may be hearing about this semi-skilled and skilled workers from Middle East, right? In large numbers are being sent back, and Kerala government is trying to figure out what to do with them, right? And, they have to find also, a alternative or how to receive them and house them and all that, because nobody expected this to happen. The other issue is, like I said, the large number of jobs that were, let's say like an outsourced method that was going on, like in IT industry, for example. That also, there's a major slowdown because, IT budgets are being cut worldwide and companies wanting to, slice down the number of people and so on. This is another, so these are all the negative aspects, right? But there's another positive aspect, which is also something which we need to consider is, large amount of offices are going vacant because of people working from home. And, you're hearing all stories about these big companies, some of them planning to do permanently work from home. So the savings these companies are going to have in terms of, closing down their office or, or let's say scaling down their operations, they can now hire more people. Okay. And so that's another positive trend. I would like to say that they are, on the other hand, the freshers are being hired, people with, let's say 2 to 3 years, up to 3 years experience. A lot of them are getting hired because the salary levels are lower. And, they think that this 1 year can be used for ramp up and, skill them so that they'll be ready when the world opens up again, So these are the kind of thoughts. And the other senior people, right? The senior people are the ones who are losing jobs mainly because, like I said, right, the companies are trying to cut down where are the expenses, and usually, it is linked to the stock exchange. Suppose the company announces 5,000 jobs are axed, then the stock market goes up. The shares goes up. Okay, so there are multiple variables at play, and the positive side, I would like to say, a lot of people, experienced people are becoming available. And as I speak with you, right, many have reached out to me saying, are there jobs where, I can become a co-founder of a startup, or I can become a mentor? So I'm just setting the tone also for this event by saying, not everything is bad. Like you can say that this was something nobody expected, the situation, but you have to find, as they say, right, a silver lining in the dark cloud. And that's the way I would like to look at it and say, yes, there are so many challenges, but there's also positivity. You're going to get good people that used to work for large corporations and also, in other startups who could become your co-founder. The entrepreneurs in this audience could find good co-founders, that can help you to build and scale your operations.
Thank you.
So I would like to set the stone and say,
yes,
I would like to, open it to others. Thank you.
Yeah. So my question now goes to somebody who is already heading more than, an entity with 1,200 plus crore and more than 50,000 workers under him. So my question to him will be a slight different, in the same line, I would say. How does he see the hirings at leadership level post-COVID? Does he actually see any kind of change coming in the hirings market altogether? And since the event is specific for startups, so if RP sir, you can throw some light, how do we see the hirings market evolve, now at least post-COVID, and that too at a leadership level? So over to you, sir. Vishal, you can please unmute him. Please.
So, Gaurav, can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yes, sir. You're good. Good to go.
Okay. So, question, Gaurav. So, let us understand, what this pandemic has done. Almost about 1.2 crore people, which is 12 million people, have lost a job. Now, if you look at the 1.2 million people who have lost a job, in that, the larger number of people are, of course, the informal people are there. CXO and leadership position people have not lost the job much, because we must understand that, every company takes so much of pain to build a team of leadership positions. So no company for the sake of 5-6 months or 7-8 months would like to lose the leadership. So in my opinion, we deal with almost about 1,500 clients across the country, and in all the sectors, and also we do the payroll of about 150 companies. So from the payroll also you can make it out, what kind of people are is losing the job. So we do the payroll of almost about 60,000 people. So 60,000 people which we were doing the payroll, it has come down maybe about 55,000. So 5,000 people have lost their job. So there is a data of 5,000 people. So what kind of people have lost their job? So larger number of people who lost their job were the frontliners. And like in our company, when we decided to cut down the cost, obviously your business has gone down 2 months, you are off, So what do you identify? You identify the poor performer, you identify the average performer, you identify the division which is not doing well at all, but you will not touch the people who are in the leadership position, because it takes pain to build such team. And those teams are the core team of a company, and they actually run the company. So in my opinion, most of the company, unless the business is on disastrous or have lost the substantial business, have not touched the leadership position. But nevertheless, there are some people on a managerial skill, they have lost the job. Now, under this situation, there is a confusion and there is an opportunity. Confusion is what? First of all, we have thought that, jobs are not available. and people, largely number of people are available, or there are a lot of good people are available. That is the confusion. The opportunity is what? Opportunity is that, I think the biggest opportunity for a company is that the people which you have lost, particularly on managerial or executive position in the last 3 years, if you can get back to your company, you are ahead of the many competition. Because if you are getting, and in case if they have lost a job. So first, so what we did in Genius, and we advised to certain of our clients, why don't you identify the people which you lost during the last 3 years, and if matches to your requirement, get back to them, because if you get back to them, you straight away get a ready-made person. They knows your system, and this pandemic situation, you have an opportunity to seize and go business, So that is the opportunity and the confusion in the market. Now, if any startup company wants to hire and make a core systems of equity exchange to each other, in my opinion, this is a fabulous platform which you have created, Gaurav. See, any startup company has the pain to get a good employee with a good background, experience, and education, because any startup company, the ability to pay as per the market will not be there that much unless it is funded by some venture capital with a large sum of money. But every startup is not funded with a large amount of funding. So I'm talking in general, does not have that kind of money. But if it can offer an equity, a seat in the boardroom, a future for next couple of years, and their opportunity to explore his experience and the knowledge which he has gained in a particular area and has got a specialized, I think it's a win-win situation, for the startup founder and getting a co-founder on the panel on the company and take it forward. So my take is that this pandemic hiring is happening in a selective way. I would say that if I was doing, let's say, 10 recruitment, today we are doing anything between 20 to 30% recruitment. So 70% recruitment is not happening, particularly on executive and a middle level position, senior level. So hardly there is any mandate, So that's the scenario in the market. But at the co-founder level, the idea which you have, it is an excellent idea. I think it should be explored.
Thank you. Thank you for those encouraging words, sir. So the next part, the next piece of the query goes to somebody who understands Indian market as well as US market with same parity. So he is currently also in US itself. Too early for him to wake him up. So Atul Kumarji, the next question, which is basically there is, typically, do you think, what is your take on the leadership hirings? At a global level, when we talk about the leadership hirings, how does the market perceive this equity exchange? Are we ready per se for working on equity? What is your input? What are your inputs on the same process?
Sure, Gaurav. Thanks for inviting me to this session, very timely and relevant. And just wanted to add a point about the overall topic before coming to the leadership hiring, that historically it has been found that after any great crisis or like economic depression which happened in US in the 1920s after the World War, or even after the World War, after that is the best time to be a entrepreneur. Many people, though economy is booming, is the best time. No, actually, when after the depression is when most of the major, even some of the top companies in the world, they always started just during the depression or after the depression. So it's a good time to start if you have not thought about it. Now, coming to the leadership hiring, at the end of it, leadership itself is under a lot of cloud as well as uncertainty as well as opportunities. Earlier, when you joined a company, the big bosses, the CEO, the CFOs, the head of HR, they were the leaders. In the new world, everybody can be a leader. And that's the expectation. Some of the top global companies in the world are doing that. So what they're trying to inculcate the mindset in their employees is, don't think yourself as an employee, but also think yourself as a co-founder, literally. Obviously, it's easy to say and hard to implement. The founder, Sergey Brin or Larry Page, the co-founders of Google, obviously they will have higher equity because they took the risk and they put everything on the line. Or any company, be it Infosys, Cognizant, TCS, any big company you can think of. The people who put their own money and risk or left their job, a well-paying job, to start something, so obviously they will have, it's like their baby. So obviously they will have a higher equity and higher control. But some of the difference between some of the great companies which have succeeded and many which have not succeeded, even though they were great to start with, now they are, is that they've been able to give that co-founder type of feeling as well as the leverage to the employees. So you're not just an employee, but the company is yours. And one very famous example from India is Infosys was one of the first software companies in India, even though we had other older companies like TCS was much older. They gave equity to all the most of the initial employees. The initial, let's say, I don't know exact number, let's say initial 1,000+ employees, they all became millionaires when Infosys went public. Why? Because they all had equity. So that changed the whole equations. The moment you stop treating your employees as employees and treat them as like the owners of the company, co-founders of the company, not everybody will have the same equity. Some might just have a small nominal amount, but the moment you start treating your employees as the owners of the company, then things change. Because then the success of company is my success, failure of company is my failure, and everybody start behaving like a co-founder. And that's, I did the secret sauce, which many great companies, successful companies have been able to differentiate. I hope.
Thank you.
And
yes.
I hope I answered your question, Gaurav. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you for giving all the startup owners who are present here that secret sauce as well. So my next query is for all the 4 panel speakers. Now, when the GDP rate hit minus 23.9 in India, and now, just to set the tone for the upcoming startups who are exhibiting, who are talking about their requirements, what is your one advice for them who are in turn looking for CXO hirings or who are looking to find their perfect match? What is that one piece of advice which you would like to give to the startup owners in this perspective? So we will go in the same order. We will start with Gaurav Kapoorji, please.
Are you there? Yeah.
Shall I rephrase my question, Gaurav?
Could you please repeat your question?
Yes. Yeah. So in the current scenario, wherein we saw the GDP for the first quarter was minus 23.9, and in this platform today we have 6+ startups who are here to pitch and find the CXOs or the co-founders. So what is your one piece of advice to all the budding startups, early stage startups, and the other startups as well who are looking for maintaining or making their core team? The Indian startups who are looking to maintain their core team, making their core team, what is your one piece of advice you want to give it to them? How should they look for finding their perfect match? What are the qualities they should look for?
It's muted again. Are you there? Please unmute, Gaurav. I think you are muted. Yes, now okay.
Varad?
Yes, I think, yeah, should be okay.
Yeah. Varad, want to begin?
No, I was told that was your order.
Okay. So I think if you're looking for qualities in a co-founder or at a CXO level, if you're looking at people in the core team, let me put it this way. If you're looking at people in the core team, I think the first thing is commitment and passion. I think these are 2 qualities that would definitely, be on the tops for, and of course you would be looking at the skill sets that you require for that particular position. So these are 3 things I think from my end which would be tops, where I would feel that when you're looking around for people, look for these three things.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Great. So Gaurav, and both the Gauravs, I would like to give my own experiences. Like, you know already that I've been through about 12 startup journeys myself after being an executive, and then 5 of them in good exits. So the picture that you see in the background is the one I want to talk about. This is the company that I last listed in the Oslo Stock Exchange in 2016, January. So the story goes like this, right? Me and the main founder of INDIC, that's a company headquartered in Oslo. His name is Alf Martin. Okay, so he's a founder. And we and 3 other co-founders, today 4 of us are there. We met at that event, and it was the story he pitched to us, and we were all building our own companies in India at the time in the same innovation ecosystem space. And so he told us, look, you can choose to build your own, your own stories in your countries. But how about we all coming together, consolidate this, and make it really big, okay? So I want to tell you, in 2016, we listed this in Oslo Stock Exchange after 7 years. And there's no looking back. Now we are working towards listing in NASDAQ, okay? So the story is like this. Each one brings, their own strengths, and we have to be complementary, and you come from, like I said, we were global in nature, and each had their own strengths. So we get a double combination. And so I would like to say like this, that whenever you are trying to, find co-founders, do some interviews, with them, understand what's a vision, and try to see how much you can adjust, because it shouldn't happen that after you start working, midstream, you get into trouble. That's what happens, many breakups that happen, which are not, let's say, something palatable, right? So you would like to, in the beginning itself, understand each other, what are both the expectations, the vision, etc. Because you're dealing with very bright guys, because the founders of organizations are usually extremely, what you call the A-type people, driven, self-driven. And so they already have a lot of energy in them. And when 4 such people meet, for example, in our case, the expectations are very, very high. And so we have to, that is why, we need to have candid, open-minded discussions, and the rest can fall in place. So this is what I would advise for my personal experiences, that interview, and, for lack of a better word, understand each other better, and the rest can fall in place. You can work out everything, so all that you heard about stock options and, making people as co-owners, all that can happen. But the leaders, the top, must be really good, then everything can work out. Thanks.
Whereas I actually wanted, our startup owners to know this story, and thanks for putting this up. I already know this story, but thanks for, talking about this particular piece to all these startups. And yes, I can take that thing, like dating is, if I may use that word, dating is actually very important before going into the actual marriage. That is what he is
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Varad. So we'll move on to RP sir. Yes, sir. Your opinion, please.
Yeah. So, Varad gave very good insight, and it was very practical what he did to take it forward, his company. So when we look for people, whether we are looking for a co-founder, when we start the company, even when I started 27 years back, I think the journey was similar what Varad said. So 27 years back when we started, I was not looking for the co-founders with me because I didn't have such kind of idea, unfortunately. The only idea which I had, that one day my company will become a large company. If I want to make a large company, and it is a service industry, so I need the people which will take forward this company at a greater height. So first I visualize what kind of people I want to have with me. Hello. I visualize that I want people who has at least 1 to 2 years of experience, should be at least from, not if A grade of institute, then it should be from B grade. It could be an MBA, only the postgraduate I will take it. Could be from middle class family. I didn't want it to take from the business family, has a cushion to do that, and who has a vision and who wants to listen my vision. So with that ambition, I started interviewing the people, and I took one by one, and because I wanted that, the company, when it becomes large, these are the people whom I take initial phase in the first 1 or 2 years. They should head the company by becoming a vice president, president, or executive director after, And today now, after 27 years, out of the 131 leadership positions, there are 21 leaders which are working with me, anything between 15 years to 20 years with me. And that is how the company is under the safe hand. With the 21 people on the senior positions, they are anything between 51 years to 22 years old in the company. So when we look for a co-founder, now that was in the context of the employee. That I was looking for an employee, not as a co-founder, because I had no idea those days as a co-founder. But if you are looking for a co-founder, then first of all, you need to decide that what kind of people I require, and you need to have a clarity on that, in terms of qualification, in terms of background, in terms of experience, in terms of specialization, in terms of even the cultural fit, like I identified middle-class family. I wanted middle-class family. I wanted people who are disciplined. So right from the beginning, we used to have a formal dress, tie, Monday to Friday in the office, discipline, HR policy, will adhere to the HR policy. There could be a company which does not want to do this. So you need to have a clarity as to what kind of people are. Once you have this clarity, then making a purposeful mandate to the person who is coming becomes easier. And when you propose, likely is that he will come and join and make it a bigger your company. So that's what I would suggest to all the founders, to look for a person as a co-founder.
And one more piece, just to add about his nature only. When we were talking, last week I was talking to him, discussing some more ideas about our entity SMBA consultants. He was the one, he told me, Gaurav, this is a very decent idea. The idea needs to be moved forward. And if something can be done in a very collaborative way, this is the time, and collaboration is the future. And this is the same piece which Varad always says, collaborate to co-create. So, very important for all the startups, collaboration. Collaboration is certainly the big thing that everyone should look forward. And please identify, be very, very clear with what kind of skill sets you are looking for, as all the people have already mentioned. So moving on to Atulji, please, if you can throw some light on this particular piece.
So, Gaurav, I always say these things like a broken record, co-create, collaborate, the co-founders. So that word co is the key word. And always say we is greater than me. So many often entrepreneurs are very, very self-centric, selfish people sometimes. Most entrepreneurs also have a huge ego. But the ones which have really succeeded, the only difference between them and those who have not is they have thought about we. How can we as a team work together? And as you rightly say, co-founders. So together we can do much more than what we can do alone. There is some quotation, I'm forgetting the exact quotation, that if you want to go fast, then go alone. But if you want to go longer, go further, then you have to go together. And that's the secret many entrepreneurs have discovered. If you think of any major company, I mean, I'll give some famous companies everybody knew. So everybody knows about Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak, and that's why we had Apple. Otherwise, there was no Apple. Similarly, Microsoft, Bill Gates, he started. But Microsoft also had Paul Allen, and that's why we have Microsoft. So co-founders has one big beautiful thing. They complement each other. So you might be a very high risk taker, but then your other co-founder is probably a very calculative on risk and very more careful about taking financial decisions. Like I will give a personal example. So every time I run more non-profit than for-profits. Anytime I'm doing something like a non-profit, I get my friend, is more like a brother to me, Santosh Pandeyji. He's in Europe. And every time I have to do something, I always first get him in the loop, because I'm like the reckless guy. I will do whatever I think needs to be done without a lot of thought into it. But he's a chartered accountant, work with Atul in Europe. And Santosh Pandeyji will bring the financial controllership, discipline, risk management type of things in everything else. So that complementarity is the key thing. So co-founder have to, one person has great ideas, the other person has maybe great execution skill, and maybe the third person has a good ability to raise finance or manage finances, and the other person might be good at HR, like we have leaders in the team. So you have to think about the complementarity very much, because that what makes you risk proof, and the same time also you will be able to survive against the vagaries of the economy. So economies might go up and down, but if you have a good team, then you will stick together. That's all I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Atulji, for those peaceful, and insightful nuggets. And all the four panelists, thank you so much. This discussion can go on probably for 1 more hour, but I can understand the startups, the owners are already becoming jittery. They also want to, quickly present. And if at all you guys can stay back and probably talk. And as I already stated, at the end of the event, I will actually reveal one kind of an offer which Varad has actually stated for all the startups coming up for the event. They can definitely avail the offer and be in his event too. So over to you, Vishal. So you can actually take forward this segment wherein the startups will be talking. All right.
So Gaurav, I have another appointment, so I would like to sign off.
Thank you so much. So I already told you about 5:30. So that is what you have done. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Gaurav. All the best.
Thank you.
Wish
Thank
you
you
all
so
the
much.
success.
Thank you. Yeah, so we will move to our startup presentation. The very first presentation we have from Ashish. Let me just give everyone a chance to unmute. Ashish, are you there? You can unmute yourself, please.
Hi.
Yeah, okay, Ashish, you're there, right? Okay, let me quickly share your presentation, and I'll also try to give you remote access, or I'll just help you with the slide change.
You can run it.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Let me just share the presentation then.
Let me know when.
Yeah. It's happening now.
Yeah. Hello everyone. My name is Ashish, and I represent SoyoIT. It's a startup in Goa, Bengaluru. Thanks, panelists, for some really nice insights in how we should be growing our team and perhaps collaborate with others. We'll try to take those learnings in the positive way. Our startup focuses on technologies for INDIC languages and scripts. That's our key focus. The problem is INDIC-SCRIPT typing using mobiles is really hard. This is true actually for most non-Roman scripts, but the trouble is 80% Indians do not read or write in English.
Okay, sorry, can you see the screen problem slide?
Yes. So
okay.
Slide number 2, please.
Yeah, are you seeing that or not yet?
I don't see it, no.
Okay,
I just see slide number 1.
Yes.
Guys, in the meantime, just a request for all the participants. You can please let the speaker only be presenting the slides. This being a virtual platform, we might experience a bit of hiccups. So kindly bear with this entire presentation. And Vishal, over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. You should see the full screen now.
Yeah, thank you. Go to the next slide, please.
Yep, please.
So the problem is 80% Indians do not read or write in English, but when they open a mobile, they would see an English keyboard with Roman keys on it. Or there are other script layouts, and I'll come to them. But we are talking about helping these Indians to type using INDIC-SCRIPTs. They write with INDIC-SCRIPTs on paper.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I think please unmute. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So how do we help these Indians who write in using INDIC-SCRIPTs? How do we get them to use their mobiles for services using INDIC-SCRIPTs? And there are 400 million of those plus. And once they do it, however, they will have, we can try to understand what their needs and desires are so that we can provide those services to them. But in order to create all this technology, where is that language content online? So there has to be a way to create a lot of language content online. Next slide, please. So our solution to this is a LIPEE keyboard, which provides very simple layout with INDIC consonants, no complications about multiple screens. The idea is all INDIC-SCRIPTs have this feature in it, that you have a consonant like J in Devanagari shown here. You produce a sound G, which is on the rightmost figure. To go from J to G, you add a matra to it. And our idea is, instead of using anything else, we use a unique gesture to create the matra. So you press your hand on J and make a gesture. Gesture is now very close to the actual handwriting matra. And that's the key. The idea is, when you use this, now you have one for G. To go from J to J will be another gesture. Go from J to J will be third gesture. So we have now 12 matras, 12 gestures for 12 matras. These are very close to the handwriting manner it's themselves. So that makes it very easy to learn. It's a very shallow learning curve. And you can type fast. Right now we can go 100% faster, and we can actually do more and with AI ML in the background. So there's going to be a lot more data machine learning going forward in the future. Next slide, please. The current way B2C is go through Play Store, which is what we do. But going forward, in order to scale rapidly, we would like to use B2B2C route, give APIs as a service to other apps. We have localization partnerships, other companies, OEM partnerships, and that's the way to future. So right now we have a fantastic set of users to do our testing and so on, so they can actually understand the demands and so on. But going forward, we're going to go for B2B2C. Next slide, please. Our revenue model has 3 steps: short-term, medium-term, long-term. We start with freemium and API licensing as short-term. In medium-term, we would like to do OEM licensing. But the real long-term goal is to mine this large text data, which comes from a new demographic of users. These users have not used mobiles before. They use INDIC-SCRIPTs for writing. Now they will use INDIC-SCRIPTs for typing. And we provide the interface for them. And that data, therefore, is now a new kind of data set. And we now mine that to understand what these users need. Next slide, please. So our competitors are essentially 2 types of keyboards: transliteration, which is the leftmost figure, and INDIC-SCRIPT layouts, which are in between. Now the users we are interested in are only going to use INDIC-SCRIPT layouts mostly. And it's extremely painful to use these layouts. And I have used it, and all my friends use it, and all my colleagues use it. They all complain about it. So how do we make it better is what we have provided a solution for. We are not competing with voice. There are lots of problems with voice as well, but voice will stay. But keyboards will also stay going forward. And the idea would be to make them as good as possible. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
Our team, apart from founders, so I'm Ashish Asgekar. I'm a PhD from IISc. I now currently work in industry as deep learning scientist. My co-founder is a doctoral researcher. She works in education, but she's great at program management and counseling and working with large number of people. We have a new consultant. We have a consultant for business development who is a great friend and going to work with us. And we have a set of industry advisors who are great at their work. They are veterans from various industries. Next slide, please. So going forward, where are we right now? We have 100,000 downloads with large number of users, and we now have a very clear business plan and revenue model going forward. In June, we have onboarded a consultant for AI ML, who is a PhD in computer science from Institute of Science in Bangalore. In August, we onboarded a tech lead, who is in tech from IIT Delhi. And both these guys will now enable us to rapidly modify or improve our current experience. Next slide, please. So what are we looking for? We're looking for folks who essentially love their mother tongue and INDIC-SCRIPTs. They write with their INDIC-SCRIPTs. They read a lot of literature. They actually love it. And they want these languages to do better in digital future. We're looking for Chief Technology Officer, hopefully Goa, Bengaluru, has experience in DevOps, AI, ML on the cloud, and experience in strategy and external partnerships, because that's our immediate focus going forward. We're also going to look for somebody who's in business development to work with expanding our business with other partners. Next slide, please. So what we want people to join what we call Team Bharat. People who are going to enable so-called Bharat, who's essentially tier 2, tier 3 cities to use digital experience. New IPs is going to be an exciting space because we're talking about a lot of people who are going to join digital services probably for the first time. So we'll be working very attractive ESOPs, great working environment. So we want them to benefit as much as we benefit working with them. And we're open to everyone with right skills. There are no other barriers, no other preconditions attached. So please get in touch and we hope to work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ashish. So just moving to the, so anyone who, who wishes to connect with Ashish, feel free to let us know, or, you can even type in the chat box. Let's go to the next speaker, Ashwin. Ashwin, please unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thanks, Gaurav, and thanks, Vishal, for this opportunity. So I'm just trying to figure out how to put this on full screen right now. Can you guys see?
Yeah, we can see. You have to first put it to full screen, then share. There are two separate windows for full screen as well as.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm just trying to figure that out.
There's a F5. F5 will make it full screen.
Not on a Mac, apparently.
Oh, not on a Mac. Okay. There is a button on the bottom, just next to the minus.
Wait. I think I got it. It's
okay. Yeah.
Enter full screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See it now?
No. So you have to reshare again.
Okay.
The full screen one.
Hold
yeah.
On.
Yeah. Stop sharing. Just stop sharing from Zoom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then reshare. When you hit the share, you will get the option to share the full screen one.
Yeah. Okay. I think you should be able to see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Once again, just to start off, thanks for this opportunity. So,
sorry, still we cannot see the full screen. Okay, maybe go to the next slide. Let me share from our side then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me share from our side.
Make more sense.
Okay, just a sec. So that we stay consistent.
What about now? Can you see it now?
Okay. Yeah. Now I can see. Now we can see.
Okay.
Or we can do that. This is fine. I think this is still okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, just to move it along, we're Fight Forecaster. We're a percentage-based prediction app for MMA, very similar to the fantasy sports that are run on cricket by Dream 11, and for Western audiences by FanDuel and DraftKings. So we're targeting a very niche sport called mixed martial arts, which is a rapidly rising sport all over the world. There are two reasons for targeting. One is, of course, a personal reason that I've been a fan for many years now. And the other bigger reason is I feel it's the fastest growing global sport. And it's the only sport which is growing on a global basis. So if you take cricket, for example, there's just a handful of countries that play it. Football is already followed by a number of countries, but it's not growing at the pace it was. It's already an established sport. And most Western sports such as basketball and rugby are very limited geographically. So MMA is the first sport which is truly global. And we feel that while the fantasy sports model has been very successful in the other sports by larger unicorns, which I'll address later in the presentation, There is no, as of yet, there is no fantasy sport which is exclusively dedicated to MMA and the niceties of it. So can you see the problem slide?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, like I mentioned, this is the thing. The total addressable market is well over 10 million users currently, but that number is rapidly growing, and the market is sort of dominated by a number of promotions. So the biggest promotion by a long way is the Ultimate Fighting Championship in the UFC, which is promoted by big firms such as KKR and IMG-WME. On the eastern side of the world, we have one championship which is heavily backed by the Singaporean government, and the fund Temasek. But yeah, apart from these two, there are a number of other smaller promotions which are uh, geographically located in different places. There's one in Russia, there's one in Poland, and all of these are also quickly and rapidly rising promotions. It'll be interesting landscape evolves in the years to come. So the solution, as I mentioned, is since we already have fantasy sports applications which are tailored to those sports, but MMA is a very distinct sport. It's based on martial arts, and the persona, the kind of people that are attracted to MMA have a completely different outlook to it. They're not as statistically oriented in terms of things like the number of significant strikes, because in this sport, the thing can change very quickly. So it's the key elements and the results which are of importance. And it's also a very socially conducive sport. Most of my user base comes off of Twitter, which from which the users are it's a global user base, and it's a self-organizing and organically growing user base. I also wanted to mention that the Fight Forecaster app is a very low budget app compared to how most other fantasy sports are organized. Just as a side note, most other fantasy sports invest heavily on marketing, but they also invest heavily in sports journalism and a gathering of statistics. That is not required for the operation of Fight Forecaster, as a very few statistics are actually required for the operation of the app. While just to harp on this point, statistics are obviously very important from the user's perspective, but not so much from the fantasy sport operator's perspective, and that's what allows us to operate at a very low budget. So this is the customer acquisition strategy, which really is the key engine to the growth of the startup, as it is for any fantasy sport. Digital marketing and some amount of word of mouth will be the core. So obviously, this will tie in very well with my requirements, which I'll get to in a while. Influencer marketing is also obviously very important, but it's the right influencers, not just any influencers. And we have a very specific kind of influencers within the MMA sphere. Podcasting and content marketing, these are standard things. So the marketing and the customer acquisition is probably going to be the moat of the startup. And this first mover advantage will hopefully also offer us some kind of a competitive advantage. There's a very standard revenue model which is utilized by all fantasy sport operators in the industry, which is essentially which is a pay-to-play model, where everybody puts in a fixed amount of money, which is collected in an escrow account, and from that pool, prizes are awarded to the users depending upon how skillfully they play the game. And a certain percentage of the pool, referred to as a rake percentage, is what the fantasy sport operator takes for himself. It's usually between 10 to 15% of the total pool. Ad revenue is also an option, but it is not the go-to option, and it will be done only if suitable. So a few operators have tried the ad revenue model, and it has not worked out for them in the past. But the pay-to-play model is far more suitable, and it's been tried and tested over the last decade. Competitors, there are actually many competitors, but I've just listed the three big ones. FanDuel and DraftKings are the two big ones in the US. They have already encroached upon the MMA space, and they have official sponsorship agreements with some of the larger organizations. Fortunately, unfortunately, as I mentioned in the beginning, the way they've drafted the games is very similar to how they've drafted it for, say, football or for any other sport, where in essence you're selecting a lineup and then your performance is on the base of the lineup rather than based on the individual performances of the individual fights, the individual events. Dream 11 is not yet into the space, but I felt that it's important to list them as a potential competitor simply because of the size that they have achieved. While they don't officially operate in the MMA space, they do sponsor the broadcast of a few events, notably the one championship ones. The team is just me at the moment. I'm in conversation with a number of people, both nationally and internationally, to join. Yeah, and this presentation is part of the efforts to do that. So this is the recent past, and we don't have too much of a past to speak of. We launched on the Play Store in July. The launch on iOS happened subsequently in August. And recently we cracked over 150 plus weekly active users, which is a pretty high percentage rate. Weekly active users is the most important metric for us as a startup, because these events happen week on week, and yeah, well, most people would prefer to record their forecasts and record their predictions once during a week. It's unlikely that they're going to come back to it on a day-to-day basis. This is just to give you a sort of pictorial representation of our user base. As you can see, the distribution has happened quite successfully so far within a short period of time. A few big markets which are unfortunately not yet touched would be Russia, China, and Brazil. These are places where MMA has already gained a foothold and is growing and has grown to a significant extent. But most importantly, US, which is the biggest market for the sport in the world and the biggest market for almost anything, has had some amount of representation. And India, of course, has had some amount of representation in this because we've been founded here and we have a lot of connections here. We've been prominently featured in some of the Indian publications that are dedicated to mixed martial arts. And yeah, so this is my ask. I probably should have put the chief marketing officer before the chief technical officer, because the chief marketing officer may be the most important role within the company. As I mentioned before, the chief technical officer is very important because it's important that the app runs smoothly without glitches, without any errors. Users can sometimes be unforgiving. Early users, in this case at least, are surprisingly tolerant. But you know, as we scale up, that is something that would be required to be kept at a minimal. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you once again for allowing me to share this platform.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. We'll move to Sahil now. Sahil, please unmute yourself. Sahil, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Yes. Okay. So shall I share the presentation? Your presentation?
Let me just try if I can do it because I've created the updated one. One second.
Okay, sure. So you can share from your side, no problem.
I believe
it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, yes. Yes, please.
Okay. Thanks. First of all, thanks a lot for the co-founder for creating such an insightful event to have a good panel on the discussion. Myself, Vadva, and I have the platform named as Pathshala. So we are a platform which we call it as the marketplace. So it's an education marketplace to search, manage, advertise, and sell. How it's going to happen all these four things, I'll be just giving a brief about it in a couple of slides. So basically what problem statement, what we are looking upon is the people, they have a lack of monetary resources. There are people with the low income. So our target audience is basically tier 2, or we can say a middle class family. We are not targeting tier 1 because we already have a good competitors who have acquired tier 1 and the higher class people. The second problem statement what is inadequate infrastructure to provide opportunities to the educated youth. So with our platform, what we are doing is anyone who is 18 and above, they can be an educator on our platform. So we are a platform where we are bridging the gap between an educator and a learner. Why educator? Because we have the categories from class 1st to 12th, competitive, college level, music, art, dance, painting, programming, learning. So each and everything, sports, singing, different kind of categories we have. So that's why we call it the educator and a learning connection. Till now, the user acquisition, what we have already done is that we have crossed 1500 students and 1500 teachers from pan India. So these are the people, those who have connected with us from, I would say, 30 plus cities around the country. Plus we have got a couple of people, those who are from international borders as well. What we are expecting it that if we have a good team with me, so we are expecting to cross 9 lakh as a tutor base, educator base, I would say, or 36 lakh as a student base. So how it's a 4 easy step that if a person or a student is looking for a tutor, they can visit to the platform. We have our website, we have our Android app as well. They can visit to the platform, they can register themselves as a student, and they can search an educator on the platform. So we have a complete directory of the tutors, the educators also registered with us, stating all their let's say the subjects and the categories what they're going to deal. Similarly, the same thing happens on the educator side. If they are looking for a student, so they come to the platform or they download the app, register themselves as an educator, and they find the students on there. Currently what we have is that we have a complete section uh, where we have the directory of the educators. We have tuition centers, coaching centers, they have connected with us. What features we are giving is there are ratings and reviews. We have online study material, the YouTube videos. We promote YouTube videos for the educators. Now we have introduced online live classes, one-to-one classes, and multiple classes also. Plus, recently we have conducted a lot of workshops, uh, dramatics, on STEM education, biology. So, plus we have conducted a virtual camp as well on the platform. Different segments, uh, the learners can search different courses which have been given to us through different educators. They can search their tutors. Revenue sources what we have is we have credit plans for teachers, we have credit plans for students as well. To join any of the class, an student has to have credit points, uh, and for the teachers also we have the credit points, wherein if a student wants to get connected to a teacher, so teacher has the full right of buying a contact details and connecting, uh, you know getting in touch with the student or the parents. A generalized projection that what I've already said in the beginning, that we are expecting a user growth of 9 lakh as an educators and 36 lakh as an learner base. Our team consists of me. I'm the founder. I've done BTech and MBA. My sister, she's from the technical background. She has done BTech and MTech. We have one of my close friends, Akshay. So he's working with us into the field of marketing. Under the program of FEED, Foundation of Innovations and Entrepreneurship Development, and also with UPES under UCI, their entrepreneurship program. So basically, what we are looking upon is someone who can actually, take upon sales with us and the operations. What basically we are looking upon. we are based out of in Delhi in India still. So I'm looking upon someone who is based out of Delhi only, so that we have a good commitment, we have a good interaction together, uh, sitting face to face and working upon things. So that's all from our side.
Okay, thank you, Sahil. We'll move on to the next person, Mr. Ganga. Please unmute yourself.
Hi everyone.
Hi. Hi. So, would you like to share, or shall I share?
Please share from your side.
Okay, okay. Sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So once again, hi everyone. I'm Gaurav Gupta, founder and CEO of FinanceCard.com. So FinanceCard is basically an AI-driven next generation neutral marketplace bank for instant customized rate quotes on loan and other financial products, and provides credit access to MSMEs and underserved people. Now from the formal sector, and works as a financial matchmaking platform with unique algorithm like with alternative credit data decisions. So I'll discuss in the next slide more details about it. Next slide, please. I'll discuss founding team later on.
Okay. Problem statement, please.
Yeah. So we believe that access to credit is a powerful tool to create meaningful social and economic impact. We also believe that for every borrower there is a lender. So we at financecard.com are trying to match those borrowers to that lender. If we talk about the problem statement, what we are trying to solve. So if we go through the data, we find that only 1 out of 8 agriculture households are able to get credit from the formal sector of lending. There's a hassle of multiple digits to different banks and financial institutions to now get to know about the different rate of interest, processing fees, and also how much convenient it would be, how much convenient to get the loan from that particular bank. So now if we talk about visiting different bank, that creates a lot of hassles to the people. The third problem which we are taking, we have come with the data that less than 3% of total credit flow to agriculture was towards the farm mechanization. So it's a very low figure. And the next problem which we are taking into, that approximately 30% of India is still borrow from the money lenders. That's a very big gap of availing access to credit. Only 20% of the population have credit scores. Rest people don't have credit score. That's why they are not able to get lending from the formal sector of banks and BFCs. And cost of servicing and sales is too high with traditional set of credit distribution in India. And over 20 trillion MSME credit gap is there in India. MSME credit stands only 5% of the gross total credit of the bank. So if we go through the entire problem statement, we find that there is a huge credit gap in MSME as well as tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India. So we have come with a solution. Next slide, please. So first of all, we are building an AI-driven financial matchmaking platform. So so first solution we are building, that is AI-driven financial matchmaking platform, where we'll be matching the right borrower to the right lender and will be recommending the best suitable product based on their profile. The second solution will be for the farmers. We have seen that only 3% of total credit flow was the agriculture farm mechanization. So FinanceCard is increasing the productivity by increasing the farm mechanization penetration in India through the sustainable financing for income producing assets. And the third solution which we are offering, we are building hyperlocal credit scores for the farmers who don't have any uh, uh, credit data to analyze their income strength. So we are digitizing their entire agriculture households and finances in the form of hyperlocal credit scores, so that we can build their digitize their farm capabilities into a uh, just a minute. The screen is I'm not
Okay.
able to see the screen. I'm not able to see the screen.
Solutions. Yeah, the screen is here. I can see.
Just a minute. There is some problem.
If there is a small issue can
I'm
be
not.
resolved just by exiting and entering. You can just exit and
Yes,
enter.
yes,
That
yes,
should
yes,
be okay.
yes, please.
Please, yeah. So we'll stay on this slide. You can just exit and enter. Yeah. So I guess everybody else is doing a lot of chit chat in the chat box, which is good. So in parallel, a lot of things are happening. Pretty much like a conference. Okay.
So this Atul just wanted to comment that while we are waiting for others to speak, the conference will last for 1 hour, 2 hours, but the conversations can last for life. The best way is to connect with each other. So don't hesitate to reach out to people on LinkedIn or whatever platform. Don't let this meeting be the end of it. I hope Gaurav and Vishal, you agree.
Sure. Yeah. Feel free to continue the discussion. Jab tak hai ja. Yeah. Okay. I think Ganga is back. Please.
Yeah, sure. So next slide, please.
Now you should. Now you're seeing. Yeah.
So we are now kind of building a rule of financial system, so the integration of various stakeholders in the agricultural activity and reduce overhead costs. The next thing in the value chain is financial institutions. We help financial institutions achieve higher risk-adjusted returns by enabling them to lend in a cheaper, quicker, and secured manner. And third, next stakeholder is farmer. We help farmers access financing for equipment cheaper and faster with the hyperlocal credit score. And we also connect with the vendors. We help vendors sell more and offer offer their customers the financing solutions. So finance card leverages various data points to generate the hyperlocal credit score and to now provide the alternative credit data decisions. Next slide, please. If we talk about the market size, we have 50 billion in target market in India. There is a 300 billion plus market in India, targeting only 50 billion target market. So out of 50 billion, 12 billion comes from the two segment of population. 80% will come from 85% of 12 billion comes from the unbanked population, which are dependent, which are either dependent family and friends or unorganized source of lending. And 15% comes from the people shifting to the other banks for their better transactional experience. So that's all the market size we are talking about. The next slide, please. So what are the USP and game changers of this concept? First of all, we are using AI and ML for financial matchmaking. We are also now creating an advanced level AI-based neutral advice call center without human interface, and automating the entire query management system to provide instant resolution in different native languages of users. We are now already using AI and ML for alternative credit data decisioning. we will be providing digital credit time to MSMEs as well as farmers and merchants. The third one is platform sharing through API. So API based strategic partnership with different financial institutions, providing them a wider range of financial products across customer segments that they can utilize. If we talk about marketing and operational USP, so we are operating into phygital mode, combining digital and physical value chain. We are connecting entire set of CSCs, SSGs, Kirana stores, and MSMEs across India. We are also providing free civil score to all the users. We are building kind of Kubernization of model of distributing financial products in India, so that can be distributed and matchmade at their doorstep services. FinanceCart also deploys a B2B2C model, partnering with businesses who are sellers, input equipment, buyers, and that can increase the access of financial services to them. Next slide, please. So business models we are talking about. We have recently launched the website and app is yet to be launched. So customers can come to our platform and provide basic details and can select the products. As soon as they select the products, or AI recommends the best suitable product based on their profile, whatever information they have provided, and that is how they select the bank. And ultimately, that our platform is connected with the APIs of different banks and NBFCs, and product can be purchased, and we are charging to the respective banks and NBFCs on each successful sale. We are not charging anything to the customers. So that's how the business model works. Next slide, please. So go-to-market strategy, I think I have already discussed in the USP segment. That B2B2C model, digital mode, and creating advanced level AI-based call center. We are partnering with CSCs, around 3.5 lakh CSCs across India. They will be working as our POS, and urbanization, creating various finance card experts across India who will be working as a freelancer. Next slide, please. If we talk about current traction, we have generated 1 million plus revenue in the last financial year. We have 10,000 plus registered customers on our platform. We have 500 plus channel partners who are working as retailers and distributors. We have onboarded 40 plus banks and NBFCs on our platform. So this is the current traction. Next slide, please. If we talk about rewards recognition, since within 1 year of operation, company has got various rewards and recognition across India. So if we talk about one by one, so it is a huge list. We have been selected for the National Philane of Fintech 18 organized by IIM Lucknow. It's a Government of India recognized startup. We have been the finalist for NASSCOM India Fintech Awards 2019 under financial inclusion category in the very first year of operation. We are selected for the virtual incubation program of NASSCOM 10,000 startup. Currently being incubated, selected for incubation at Sci-Fi IIM Lucknow, which is supported by SIDBI and UPAID. It's a METI recognized startup as well. Have been selected, got selected for SDFC Bank Digital Innovation Summit Hyderabad, and recently got selected as a top 3 fintech startup in Ideathon 2019 at Vibrant Startup and Technology Summit 2019, and got awarded by Deputy CM of Gujarat. The platform is also got onboarded on Find Fintech Investment and Deal, that is joint initiative of Mumbai Fintech Hub and Government of Maharashtra. FinanceCart has also been recently appointed as CCI, Credit Counseling Institution by SIDBI, for handholding and supporting MSMEs across India and credit facilitation. Next slide, please. Last month, FinanceCart has also got selected for incubation at Feed IIM Kasipur under RKVY Raftar program. FinanceCart also got selected as as top 50 startups in Conquest 2020, organized by BITS Pilani. And now this last month, FinanceCart has also got selected for Fidelity Awards for Fintech Startups YAQ, what is your agility concept, agility quotient, organized by NASCOM and Fidelity Investment. We have also been selected for the final round of Inclusive Fintech 50 that elevates promising fintech startups driving financial inclusion and resilience around the globe.
Hello.
This has also been selected for 6 months accelerator program of Supreme Incubator, New Delhi. We are now entering into a strategic partnership with SIDBI that has already been mentioned earlier. We are onboarding Bank of Baroda as well for distribution of Mudra and MSME through our platform. We have diversified and launched one more platform, that is Finance Karti, which provides APS and DMT services. And recently we have received interest from Indian Angel Network and under.bc for the investment as well. So we are in talk with them to raise the seed round of funding for angel industry. Thank you. That's all about Finance Card.
Yeah, thank you very much. Next we have Nandan. So Nandan, please unmute yourself.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So let me share your PPT, or you want to share from your side? Either way should be fine.
You can share the PPT.
Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathan. Hello Atul sir, and hello Vijay sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Before the PPT was started, yeah, this was Preceptors Education Services Private Limited. This was having an age of 9 months, where from the last 2 months I'm working on it. This was May 2014 to 18 is my graduation. From the last 2 months I am into this. What was the main problem I have got in my life is the startup of my company. What was the main problem is till 9th class, 10th class, plus 1 or plus 2, I don't have any option of what to do in the future. Just my parents suggested me to become a software engineer. I went to BHARAT and took my information technology as stream. But in second year of my undergraduation, I got a problem. I thought this was a problem for every individual in my class, and every individual is facing, like in the schooling or in the plus 1 or plus 2. We don't know what was the courses we have, what was the things we will have to do. When we go to a 9th class student, ask them what you want to become in the future, he will say police. But from the 9th class, what he has to do in the GK perspective or in the body perspective, all those things we don't know anything. This was the problem I have faced, and from 15 to till now, can you change the slide, sir? Next slide. This was a recent one from the ISP pre-acceleration I got. From the beginning till the end, this was a problem every individual faces in their schooling or after the graduation or graduate also. None of the software people right now, or the information technology or the CSE background, they are into mechanicals or they are into civil. Why this is happening? This is happening because in their initial stages they don't know anything. Before they're going also they don't know anything. This was the problem we have seen, and the solution we want to give is, why not bring the PhD professors to the schools of 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th, and letting them to know what to do in the future is the main concept. Right now from the Hyderabad, as before COVID, what was our thoughts, or bringing the school students to the seminar halls and bringing the PhD faculties to the seminar halls, making them to interact in person and talk with them in person and clarify the doubts, clarify all those things. But after the COVID, what was my thought was connecting with the students to the school groups which having the school students which they connect to the faculties. This was the solution I want to give for the students. Next slide, sir. The problem and the solution, I have submerged it. That was a small time I'm speaking this, but feel of the problem was huge, and the solution, the connecting not only with the PhD faculties, the professors, the lecturers, the students who did the PhD as a stream, they know something about the stream. They can talk with the students, and they can let them to know what was the reality of the course. The course has to be known for the student. If the course is not known to the student, it was a dramatic that we are right here facing the same problem. The future generation, they should not face this problem. My only thing, next 2 years it was a direct approach, and next 4 years it was a multi-level approach. The direct approach, what I have to I'm specifying is bringing the students to the network, bringing the faculties to the network, making them to interact. The multiple questions as in the program. The solution is given is into categories from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Through 9th is going to 10th, the level would be increased. The 10th, 11th to 12th, the level would be increased. The streams they are seeing to these are different. They are different streams. I want to show students the different streams we are having and letting them to know what was the stream is about. Know what was the stream about. Go to know they can what they want to become next. The target customers are 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th are into secondary operations were huge. I want the data of students and data of the faculties for different levels and different streams. Next slide. Can you go to the last stream? Last slide. The business model. What the business model? What I have to share to is, till now it was no track. There is no track record. But I can say the business model would be from the principles. The business model right now would be we are cracking the principles, we are cracking the schools, we are making the hubs in the schools. Within 2 to 3 months, we are going to start with the faculties, and the approach was the things was going on. This was a thing I want to explain to you. I want all of the people to talk with me in person. We can talk and we can make the students' life impact. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nandan. So we'll move to last but not the least, Salahuddin. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello Vishal, hello Gaurav, and hello everyone.
Yeah, so shall I share your PPT?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Close.
So hello everyone. The startup which I am working on is Classnote. It's a blogging and networking platform for students and teachers. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So this is what we have built. We have built a platform where teachers and students can come together and voice their opinions. They can write stories and poems. So till date, thousands of teachers and students have written their articles on Classnote. So yeah. Next, please. So the problem which I faced, it was in 2012 during my engineering. I felt that the need to have access to portfolios of my faculty and my colleagues. I needed to have a look at their professional biodata, which would give us details about their educational qualifications, past achievements, projects they have worked on, their interests, their association with college clubs, etc. and etc. So this is what I wanted to know about them, because that would definitely help me choose towards whom should I incline during my graduation career and after my graduation. So if I I love some faculty. I appreciate their background. If I know that they are working on some kind of project, then definitely it would be helpful for me to get connected with them. So all of that information, which would make networking easier for students like me, I wanted to have that kind of information. And unfortunately, I did not find any platform that would display this kind of information. We had a college website, but that was not updated regularly, and we didn't have this much of information on that. And there was no other platform available that would display this information. Yes, there was LinkedIn. LinkedIn existed during those times, but the educators were not very active on LinkedIn, and it was not very specially designed for requirements which I am looking. And it is actually a specifically designed platform to make hiring easier. So, and with the launch of Android in the market, when I was thinking about this idea, and cheaper internet and smartphones entering into the market, I felt that it would be very easy to create an educational portal and easy for users to access as well. So I immediately drafted my idea on a paper. So can we go to the next slide? So when this idea struck me, I immediately drafted this idea on paper, did some research, and archived it. So during then I did not work anything on this idea. Then during my first job as a research analyst at a company, I started working on the idea again after my graduation, and I started working on it full time before quitting Amazon. So from next slide. From drafting the idea in 2012, then making key changes in it in 2016, then purchasing the domain classnote.net and registering for the trademark. We have built our MVP, and we have raised $14,000 of investment in seed investment. Then and we have even gained 2,600 plus users. They are current users on Classnote. They have written, they have 100 plus blogs, and they have written 1,700 plus articles on Classnote. So next, so we have launched our product into the market by conducting an article writing competition in a school. So this was like a test event. We wanted to test the website in public. Then we conducted an article writing competition in a school, and teachers and students from higher school participated in the competition. Since then, we have conducted 4 national level events for teachers, students, and bloggers all across on a pan-India level. And then many of them poured out their thoughts. They have written poems and whatnot. You can just log into classnote.net and you can enjoy reading articles from students and teachers. It was like a first experience for many of them to write articles on internet. You could see emotions being penned down in their articles. Teachers loved reading articles from their students, and students loved reading articles from their teachers. They appreciated each other and gave feedback through the comments section. Yeah. So this is an example of an article on Classnote. This is written by a teacher and principal Suman Purohit Das on Classnote. So this is how an article is visible to readers. We created a distraction-free reading and writing experience both for readers and writers, for educators and learners. Yeah. Next, please. And this is how they interacted, and this is how students appreciated teachers' work, and teachers appreciated students' work. They really enjoyed reading articles from their teachers. So in this process, we were trying to build a network between teachers and students, between educators and learners, especially a network in the education industry. So after we have launched it in the market, and after we have conducted these national level events, we have received an overwhelming feedback from our users on Classnote. You could see that feedback. Can you please go to the next slide? So this is how they appreciated Classnote. They loved it so much, and they especially expressed their thank for allowing them to write on a public platform, and which indirectly improved their writing skills. Many of the writers on Classnote had never written an article in public, but our platform made it very easy for students and teachers to write an article which is read by millions of people on the internet. You don't even need to log in to read an article. So that made them go fearless and pen down their thoughts. Many of them, they didn't even worry about what kind of grammar they are using. That didn't stop them. Not having a good English, not being able to write properly, that did stop them from pouring out their thoughts. We conducted an freedom to write event last during the Independence Day, and we saw that many people have expressed their thoughts in that event. So yeah, for our revenue model, yes. So we operate in EdTech market. India's EdTech market is valued at $735 million, and at a 120% growth, it is expected to reach $1.7 billion in 2021 and 3.5 billion by 2022. So that is a great opportunity for Classnote. Yes. So we are not alone doing this job. We have competitors, but we somehow, I mean, like they are not doing the exact job, but somehow we have an intersection of features and we have an intersection of the audience. Edmodo, which says that it is a Facebook of educators, and Ambi is also a networking and school management kind of platform for educators and learners. And Quora, which is a publishing platform as well. Medium is also a publishing platform for professionals. And LinkedIn as well. Somehow we compete with LinkedIn as well, which is a networking platform. So our revenue model is a long-term strategy. We are not focusing on revenue currently, just like Quora, which is valued at 1.8 billion and which has 190 million users and which has raised 4 VC investment rounds, and still it's working on its revenue model, which is the ad-based model. So it just launched its ad-based revenue model very recently. So we also have a long-term strategy like Quora. We also have incorporated ads in our platform. We don't have a pop-up ads like the Google ads, or we don't have any distraction kind of ads which appear on the website. We have an incorporated ads model. I'll just give you an example of how an ad at Classnote will look like. Can you please go on to next slide? Yeah. So the article, what you are reading on the screen, why students should prefer triangular grip pencils, is actually an article which is sponsored on Classnote. It is probably by a pencil manufacturing company. So that is an article actually, but it is a sponsored article which the advertiser needs to pay for it. So if you click on that link, you will be reading the advertisement as an article. Can you please move on to the next slide? Yeah, so this is actually the advertisement which you are reading in the form of an article. So this is how advertisements are displayed on this website. We don't plan to have websites advertisement straight away, but we have a long-term strategy for advertisements, and that would be one of the revenue streams for Classnote. So yes, next slide. With increasing number of teachers and students on Classnote, by building a community of students and teachers, it opens doors to many other models like a hiring platform for teachers, a classroom management tool for schools, an institute catalog for educational institutions, just like a suite. I mean, like with the data which you have on the website, the data of teachers and students, it opens up doors to develop a lot of tools for in the education industry, and we are planning that to generate revenue. So these are the few of the three models which I have planned for. Yeah, next slide. So our mission at Classnote is to become the world's best publishing and networking platform for students and teachers. And our vision is to empower education industry collaboratively by improvising communication and access to information. Yes. So this is our team. It is me. I'm the founder and CEO of this startup. And I've been working on this startup for the past 3 years. I'm an electrical engineering graduate and a former Amazon employee. And Mohammad Amir is our co-founder and initial investor. He is a passionate entrepreneur, a leadership trainer, and a life coach. He's a former general manager at ALJ Corporation, Saudi Arabia, and he is currently serving as a head of school in Hyderabad. And we, during our journey, we have also partnered with different firms for the development of the product. We have partnered with Abdul Muqid, who is our product mentor and who is currently working as a UX developer for Phenom People. And we have also partnered with Seismic Labs as our software development team. Yes, we are looking for potential investors who understand the edtech market and opportunity that lies in it. And we are also looking for startup enthusiasts, full stack developers, product designers, and project managers who could work as co-founders. So if you wish to stay in touch, these are the contact. This is the contact information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's just stop the share. We have a small announcement to make by Mr. Varad, and let me share a picture along. Just a sec. So, Mr. Varad, please unmute your mic. Let me just bring the picture. Let me try from the phone. Yeah, please. Are you there, Mr. Varad? Are you there, Mr. Varad? Okay, seems it's not there. So anyway, I think. Oh yeah, okay, he's here.
No,
Yes,
see,
please.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, what was happening was I was unable to unmute.
Okay. Technical problems.
Yeah, I tried several times. It said, you're being monitored, and so you have to give me that control, right? Anyways, so here is what Gaurav said in the beginning. So it was a great event so far, Gaurav, and kudos to you and your team for putting this together. And I'm happy that you took my advice so seriously, and as I say, walk the talk. Thank you so much. Now, I want to just walk you through what we are doing right now for the benefit of the startups, and also for finding co-founders. That is the theme of this event. So what you're seeing here is here's a chance to present your idea and explore investment opportunities. So that's the icing on the cake. So there are going to be several co-founders. Maybe they have moved out of a startup or that shut down, or they are looking for opportunities. So this could be some executives or people who have just lost jobs, like you heard in the beginning from me. So all kinds of people who are trying to collaborate, partner, or be a co-founder, etc. Okay, so this is the platform. So what we did was to also add further value in terms of bringing the investors to get their feedback, right? You heard now this event, the startups were pitching. So this is one element, but it will be also great to get a feedback, right, from investors who are marquee investors. So we had, for example, Idea Spring, their CTO. Then we had Startup Exceed, which is another big fund, a 300 crore fund. And so their co-founder is also CTO. He was there. Then we had also iCreate, which is an incubator out of Ahmedabad. So their CEO was there. And then we had Artha Ventures, the principal of Artha Ventures, also being there, Gauri Kuchal. And besides that, myself as a former entrepreneur. So others all have, other caps, like I said, investors, or they run an incubator. Whereas in my case, as a serial tech entrepreneur, I had given my feedback. And then, of course, Kapala Ventures, who is our partner here. So it was a great, similar, format. So I wanted to, this is what Gaurav wanted me to offer to you all, was the 18th event. So I'm inviting each one of you to join the event on the 18th, which is a Friday. So it's going to be about 2 hours, and it's going to be in the morning. So sometime tomorrow, the poster like this and the theme, the link, etc., will be shared so that each one of you can register and join the event. So whoever is a startup who want to get a feedback from investors or looking for investments should apply, because there's a selection process, and these 5 are selected are very likely to get investments. So that is the way we have done it. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So this is one. And then from my own company, right, Induct, we are building what's called as innovation communities, right? And that platform, we are offering it free of cost to all the entrepreneurs, not only here, all over the world, so that you can build your own communities. And this idea is that when you build a community, then you'll be able to, attract co-founders. I will call it as a stakeholders, right? So another day, I would like to do this, Gaurav, is this topic on effectuation, right? So, the 100 Open Startups is a program started in UC Berkeley in 2007 by serial tech entrepreneurs. And so what we are doing is, in 2009, after 2 years, we started this. We began to collaborate with Darden Business School, Virginia. That is a school where effectuation was, let's say, being taught or being founded there. And these are 5 principles of effectuation, as we call it. And this is something that, every entrepreneur has to follow to become successful, or at least be on the path to being successful, right? So this is another day, Gaurav. I would like to do this session. So, with these words, I would like to close my discussion. If there are any questions, please feel free. And I'm sure, Gaurav and his team can coordinate this. Thank you.
Friends, whoever have joined, thank you so much. We have 2 more small things. One is everyone can actually become a part of our LinkedIn community free of cost. Just be added to the community, follow the community. We will keep on sharing all these news, all these offers. First month is completely free, and we want to create and generate more and more value for the community. And we will end the event today with this small video by Sonata. This is an advertisement. This essentially is the crux of finding a co-founder. So stay tuned, and we will keep on coming up with the more value generation, as we always say. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank again Varad Krishna ji, Gaurav Kapoor ji, Atul Krishna ji, and R.P. Yadav ji for coming up and gracing this occasion. And thank you so much for, we should be having, I'm actually, while this webinar, I was thinking to organize more and more master classes wherein each one of you should be taking master class and talking to the startups, because I am parallelly getting so many WhatsApp requests that they want to hear more and more. Why did you actually end the session at 5:40? So my bad that we planned the session for this duration only. But let us see how we can actually plan the sessions individually for all the budding startup owners. Thank you so much. Thank you again. And we will end up with this YouTube video. Guys, stay connected to our LinkedIn community.
Yeah.
भाई इंटरव्यू का बहुत टेंशन हो रहा है यार. मुझे भी. भाई तू तो टॉपर है.
The sound is coming, right?
Good luck. Good luck. Hi guys. 2 दिन पुराना स्टार्टअप है मेरा. ऑफिस बड़ा नहीं है लेकिन सपने बहुत बड़े हैं. साथ दोगे? भाई सैलरी नहीं दे पाऊंगा लेकिन हिस्सेदारी जरूर मिलेगी. बिजनेस अच्छा हुआ तो साथ में आसमान छुएंगे, नहीं तो साथ में डूबेंगे. पर एक बात जरूर कहूंगा, उड़ने में मजा बहुत आएगा यार. Alright, it's time open for interviews now. नौकरी मिलेगी सर?
जो करें खुद पर यकीन. सोनाटा.
Guys, this is the message of co-founders also. Thank you again, जो audience member जो भी आए हैं. Please leave your comment, tag us, and let's stay connected. यही message है. Let us collaborate and make some good things for the future. जैसे PM मोदी जी कहते हैं, let us make India and gain this long gain trust. जो चाहते हैं हम कुछ करके दिखाते हैं. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for coming up this event and making this a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So we'll end the session now. Thank you very much.